back to Beer Geek Nation once again. Thanks for joining me. I'm your host, Chris Stelz. Tonight I'm going to be looking at a Minnesota brewery. I've looked at a couple other beers before. It is Surly Brewing out of Minnesota. They exclusively only distribute to Minnesota right now. And I know that pisses a lot of people off, myself included. They make excellent beers. They make amazing IPAs. They even make a Saison. And the very cool thing is everything is canned. Well, I take that back, except for they make like a once-a-year kind of release of a beer called The Darkness, which is their Imperial Stout, and that gets bottled. But this is their Coffee Bender, which is the coffee version of their Bender Ale. Comes in at 5.5% ABV, available year-round, and it's basically an oatmeal brown, is what they classify it as. Brewed with chocolate, and I wrote down what type of coffee it is, because I would have never remembered it. Guatemalan Finca Vista Hermosa Full City Roast by Coffee and Tea Limited, which I'm assuming is a company, coffee tea company, obviously out of Minnesota. So, you know, using local products, and they use a special cold extraction process for the coffee to get the aromatics in here and everything. So, I'm kind of psyched about this one. I'm not a big coffee drinker, but you know, hey, I'm up for anything. So, let me get into a glass, let you know how it smells, how it tastes, and I'll give you the verdict. It smells exactly like a really super strong fresh pot of coffee that's, you know, going at like a McDonald's or Starbucks or, you know, 7-Eleven, wherever you get your coffee. You know, that smell that when you walk in, you know, in the morning when they're brewing coffee, it's that exact smell. I've never smelled a beer that smelled so much like coffee. You know, I've had beers that kind of claim to be coffee stouts or, you know, whatever, and they never really, you know, hit it. This one definitely hits it. Wow, that's intense. There's, you know, it's just overwhelming, deep espresso notes, a little bit of chocolate definitely in there. There's some bready characteristics, but other than that, I mean, the coffee is the star of the show in this one, obviously. It's, you know, really intense smelling, a really interesting smelling beer. Okay, so the appearance on the Coffee Bender, you know, it kind of looks like coffee. It's that deep, dark, brownish red, very much characteristic to a, you know, a traditional English style brown ale. You know, that color is dead on. It is pretty clear, as you can see through the light there. Nice off-white head, reflecting the color of the beer. You know, there was about 2 fingers worth. I had to pour it twice, but there was about 2 fingers worth of head on there. So, you know, it's like a really tiny, bubbly, really like light head. There's some lacing in there. You know, you can see that there. So it is a very good looking beer. Wow. It tastes so much like coffee, but at the same time, it's a very smooth, drinkable beer. And they come together really nicely. That you know, there's very little hop characteristic, but there's that bitterness in there from the coffee. There's some sweetness from the chocolate. There's some bitterness from the chocolate in there, like a really dark chocolate. Deep, dark espresso notes. Deep, just really dark chocolate notes, roasted malts in there. And again, your mouth just gets filled with these flavors, and all of a sudden this, you know, really sweet, light, refreshing malt just kind of sweeps it all away and, you know, lets you get another sip and kind of experience the same thing over again. It's an excellent tasting beer. I'm going to give this one a B, and I say that because I'm not a huge fan of coffee. You know, I don't claim to be an expert on coffee or anything. I'm sure this is excellent coffee, and to be honest, I've never had a beer with this much coffee characteristics to it. So, you know, in my opinion, that kind of hurts it for me a little bit. I would have liked maybe a little bit more sweetness, maybe from a malt to kind of even out the coffee a little bit. But, you know, at the same time, it is what it is. It's a coffee beer. This is the most coffee-like beer I've ever had, and so if you are a coffee fan and a beer fan, definitely you want to get this one. It's a very refreshing, kind of light, very drinkable beer. Just a really solid overall beer. And remember, life is too short, my friends. Drink amazing beers. Cheers.